So I guess I don't need any introduction because hopefully most people know who I am. So I work here for a couple decades. But I'm also a poet, and some people don't know me as that. But I host these readings first Sunday of the month. This is about the 8th year of me doing this. And, okay, I'm just going to get started. I'm going to read a couple poems I never edited, but whatever. That's what I do sometimes. This is called Blackboard. I have many pastel-colored chalks, and sometimes I can write beautiful passages. At other times, I only possess white chalk, and it halts and screeches, breaking in half, sending chills down my spine. I choke up on some things I can't erase, as if someone wrote in indelible ink, marking up my blackboard with inappropriate writing instruments, as if it was a blank slate whiteboard. I feel the dust of yesteryear clogging up my breathing, preventing me from seeing beyond the past, when life turned from innocent idyll into a riddle whose answer was elusive. I clap my hands together to prepare for the experience, for the next experience to be written upon me, and still seem foggy and clouded. But I can see reversal of fortune as my implements and implementation evolve. My markers are not permanent and plastic, and can be wiped away with a damp cloth, rewritten when appropriate to do so, able to express everything I want to say in a much brighter and enlightened way. It's called Till. I plucked many of the weeds out that I thought needed to be weeded out, but I found out that the seeds I've sown need a bit of something more to grow out, to become what they can become eventually. I've nurtured and encouraged those buds to fill out, to blossom, to bask in the sunlight, only to discover a shadow cast over them by another weed creeping into the present, one I had cast out before, which darkens the future. But when I return to the sunlight, I'm reminded that all substantial growth occurs underground, where seeds grow roots and become the bedrock upon which all outward signs of flourishing depend, not something one seemingly notices outright. And when I see the situation in that new light, I realize I have no reason not to be encouraged, that I'm not yet seeing growth on the surface, because I can feel it within taking root, about to make its presence felt above and throughout. It is only a very subtle shift in state I need, a very subtle difference that makes a difference, that pushes me over the threshold where my intention takes over and creates for me all that I want to manifest and make what's best for me and everyone around me. This was, like most of my inspired poems, written after I caught a buzz last night. This is called On the Beaten Path. Where else would I find myself, except on a road I've accepted for so long? I can't remember where I started, nor how I've continued to drift without awareness in a direction of my own non-choosing. Who else would I be without my excuses, my explanations for why expectations weren't met, why I'm better friends with my regrets than my accomplishments, and I haven't quite reached my potential just yet. If I could be who I wanted without someone objecting in a cliched way that I just have to imagine it the way I want it to be, I might have to refrain from symbolic violence against the ingenuity, forgiving their naivety. But what if I got the order reversed and I can have the things I want before I accomplish things that allegedly were required for me to be deserving of the benefits I'll receive? What if I deserve the rewards just because I am a human being, not because of what I'm doing, while I strive to improve myself and the brotherhood of mankind? What if I can totally accept myself and be an exception when trying to teach by example, a method of self-actualization to forge a new path and break from the limiting patterns of ingrained behavioral habits and unquestioned beliefs, to seek something better, to find an identity which includes all you are and all you ever wanted to be? Then I beat the path as often as I can to make it permanently etched inside. Alright, this is about Punxsutawney, which is that Groundhog Day place in Pennsylvania. Throughout the barren winter, I stared vacantly through the cloudy bus window at life and other passers-by. Always a dim, vague image of myself reflected back at me, holding my existence captive. Unwilling to face both inner and outer world, to see through the pain framing my existence, I cast the bitter fog, heaving my breath onto the cold surface, onto the cold interface between the two, obscuring the image projected, the one looking back into me. Then I wrote over it, allowing my fingertips to wander aimlessly across the hazy portal until they numbed. As I withdrew my brush, the warmth spread back into my extremities. Feeling returned, and I began to develop images with much greater clarity and perspective. Self-consciousness melded into the background, while I lost myself in the joy of creation. The new self-portrait was completed on February 1st. The following day, a shadow was not seen. The window retained the frost only a bit longer. The wintry gas didn't adhere to the surface anymore. When spring dawned, I opened up the window to let the breeze in. I breathed in the life-giving air and expanded my palette to encompass the rainbow while eyeing the lavish canvas outside the window, awaiting my touch. This is called Jigsaw. We come in pieces, some as if we were cut like cookies from a mold, some still quite rough around the edges. You may notice we resemble those surrounding us, but differ in critical ways. Assemble us at the corners, then edges, working your way inside as we begin to fit together. But be careful, some of us get lost in our journeys from box to table, table back to box, before being completed. Or worse, we never even get open and feel discarded. With each year, our complexity and number of pieces increase, yet our only guide is the image on the puzzle box, handed down to us before we could remember. We now realize no one ever gave us a clue that we had to picture the image clearly in a positive light to have any hope of coming together. It's called the Camaro of Notre Dame. It's kind of a picture of one of the statues looking down over Paris, unfortunately, where we know what's happened to that cathedral. This poem's symbolic of that. Perched atop a pinnacle of Western civilization, I overlook humanity, whose face has become obscured by a host of sacred institutions questing for power. Up here, above it all, I listen to man make declarations of independence, of brotherhood, of loyalty, of piety and such. But I also watch over the world, looking at deeds, not words, noticing the transgressions against Christ's teachings, and I see the truth. Conflict abounds. This colossal construction I sit upon, and in all that is housed within, is not exempt from the rule of law. Its foundation rests upon the Old Testament, quite at odds with the Savior's teachings. The ancient eye for an eye ethic has persisted through millennia in different garbs. Man has worshipped and soldiered for a cornucopia of beings, including the sun, the moon, and stars. But no God ever ruled so mercilessly or sat on the throne as long as Mars, the god of war. When a time comes to challenge this order, I will get off my haunches and take flight, preaching the gospel of a democratic creed that ranks human welfare, existing in symbiosis with the earth and other living things, as the highest good, whose adherents are freed by compassion, not bound by dogma, who challenge orthodoxy and seek to eliminate all systems of domination, and who lead by example. But until then, I will bide my time in this Gothic dystopia, awaiting the moment when a whole superstructure implodes upon itself. Since the other guys read some sonnets, I'm going to read a quick sonnet. It's called Labyrinth. A gate of iron bars the passage out. The path to freedom lies within the mind. If only we could see beyond the doubt that locks away and keeps confined. Alone inside the maze, a hero sleeps. The Minotaur approaches stealthily. Afraid to face the light of day, he creeps behind the walls and shadows we can't see. Illumination rears its head at dawn, awake with sword in hand to slay the night. The evil within flees, its horns withdrawn, unable to confront a force so bright. The key is turned, the nightmare now vanquished. A torch is lit, never to be extinguished. This is written to my friend who died of pancreatic cancer. He put up a really good fight, but lost in the end. It's called Token of Friendship. Walk proudly into the heart of the setting sun. May the dusk and your essence fuse into one. As the smoldering horizon disappears behind the black curtain of night, a sullen moon phases into existence. Veiled behind dark clouds of morning, the heavens bow their heads in silence, receiving a valiant and humble soul into their ranks to glimmer forevermore. Upstage, sunlight is held at bay, awaiting its call. Torrents descend throughout this longest day, until no more tears can fall from the sky. Purged clouds dissipate into nothingness, revealing a dignified celestial cast of stars, an ensemble with the brightest of additions, looking down on me, giving me strength throughout all my moments of darkness. Shine upon me, radiate your gallant light. I shall feel your presence pulsing in my chest. When I feel besieged like you, I shall fight, knowing deep inside I've given it my best. I just have two more. One, I think some of the people in the room know Elijah Pringle. He ran a workshop. And I didn't actually go to a workshop, but I was in touch with some of his students, and they wrote poems about a lynching from the point of view of the tree. So here's my version on that idea. It's called Tree of Death. The gravity of inhumanity rests upon my shoulders, sapping my life's blood, trickling painstakingly. The depravity and finality weigh on me like boulders. My limbs tremor as one being accused mistakenly. Bitter winds bite into my bark, whimpering hollow. Ropes strung across arteries dig into my branches, entrenching themselves in throats which cannot swallow. Breath becomes shallow, guilty, no second chances. A ghastly, irregular pendulum swings lifelessly, dangling amidst the conflagration of crosses. Flames have been snuffed out mercilessly. Hanging for all to see are countless losses. I can't bear these crosses anymore. The burden is too heavy. I want to become a martyr, throw myself on a pyre, end suffering evermore. My race has betrayed me, such a non-starter. See past and seed fast the future justly. Whisper to other trees not to lend their arms to any form of oppression, to act humanely. Where fire is possessed by ghosts, sound alarms. Shed leaves with the change of seasons. Colors blend seamlessly into others. Brothers and sisters, we don't need reasons. We need each other. Okay, this is the last one. It's called Sparkler. A wiry waif of semi-encrusted metal. I lie dormant in a cardboard coffin, left over from last year, abandoned on a decrepit, musty dust shelf, overlooking a dilapidated basement. Abased by Roman candles, bottle rockets, M80s, and regiments of firecrackers, I become little more than child's play, relegated to live in shadowy squalor, awaiting my spring cleaning death sentence. Derelict in her duty to cover her waist, or at least come close to the target, Jade has left the litter box area ripe, with organic fly fruits attracting the attention of every organism other than the furry feline. What a slip that was. I spy a buzzing, bug-eyed housefly meandering towards the picnic area as Jade bounces down the steps, anxious to make another deposit. But then her focus is stolen by a dizzying, zigging, and zagging. The chase is on into the sink, out of the sink, across the washer, onto the dryer, now bounding towards me. I'm hurled through a grubby, buggy cobweb, sprawled out on the floor, my silvery head exposed, dangling out of the protective sheath. Jade pounces, batting me silly sideways with her upturned forepaw, once, twice, then from the other side, jumping straight up, landing on her feet, then rolling to her side, hugging the box on top, kicking from below. The commotion-aroused babysitter found me bent out of shape and concussed. Parts of my combustible torso were flayed, and my home was shredded and discarded. Jaded and forlorn, I waited my disposal, never to know what it means to be alive. Then fate threw me a slather, I was set straight, carried upstairs, dusted off, and paired with a lighter. Melissa was playing with Malibu Barbie, telling her she'd never ever let her be lonely. Us four paraded into the green, grassy backyard. I was held up to the sky and granted fire. I sputtered at first, but gained momentum. My white-hot shower cascaded in all directions, raining bedazzling sparks of jubilation. My sizzling, scintillating performance was what I dreamed of my entire life. For that one moment, I shined like never before. And now, as I'm about to become extinguished, I rest knowing that at least once I provided light for others, and it's been in me all along. You guys want a 5-minute break?